Luda, and I want to welcome you to a roundtable discussion that I am having with out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Let me pause ever so briefly and invite Bishop Golphin in. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning, Bishop Luda. How are you doing?
Doing well today. We're going to spend about the next several minutes talking about our upcoming Theological Intensive, which will be held on the campus of Regent University in Virginia Beach, Virginia on October the 13th, 14th. That's a Monday and Tuesday of this year, 2014. I want to pause and give you an opportunity to meet in a more comprehensive way Bishop Dennis Golphin. So Bishop, your background, where you are in ministry, and why those who are sharing with us ought to be listening to your voice.
Thank you, Bishop Luda. I'm Bishop Dennis Golphin. I'm living in Raleigh, North Carolina right now, doing several things. I have an organization called Living in Favor Global Network, what Bishop Luda has shared with us many times in terms of being one of our speakers at our conferences. And of course, I'm president of the International Alliance of Bishops. And just recently, I've just been elevated as an archbishop with the Anglican Orthodox Episcopal Communion. I do a lot of social media. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. All those tools have been very beneficial for me for ministry, as well as doing blog posts and doing a monthly newsletter that I do that reaches close to about 5,000 to 6,000 people. So it's been a great time of ministry sharing. This year I'm celebrating 51 years in the ministry, and the Lord's been good.
Great. Thank you so much, Bishop. In terms of myself, I'm Bishop Andy Luda. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. Grew up here in the New York area. I hold degrees from Oberlin College in Oberlin, Ohio, as well as Harvard University of Divinity School there in Cambridge, Massachusetts, a Master of Divinity, and then a Doctor of Ministry degree from United Theological Seminary in Dayton, Ohio. I've been in ministry a little more than 40 years. I've had the pleasure of pastoring 3 congregations, the Star of Bethlehem Baptist Church in Ossining, New York. I was there for 7 years. And then the Oakley, now Full Gospel Baptist, Ohio, where I spent 20 years. And for the last 11 years, I have been here in New York at the Hollywood Full Gospel Baptist Cathedral. I serve as the Bishop of Christian Education of the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship, currently under the direction and the leadership of Bishop Paul Morton. We're in transition now. And so I want to salute Bishop Joseph Warren Walker, our new international presiding bishop-elect. I have a number of online courses on udemy.com, Moodle. There are a number of tools that I use for the convenience of my curriculum. Today, we're here talking with Bishop Golphin about the historic role of the church education. Now, the current education system that we have is highly secularized. The university system is a global institution. But what I want to share with you is that the origin of formal and even actually at its starts and its roots in the church itself. Prior to Oxford, the University of Bologna, and the University of Paris, all becoming these highly secular institutions, they started out as cathedral schools. It was during the days of the Renaissance, when science and faith took different paths, that these institutions developed along different tracks. Bishop, give us your perspective and share with those who are watching just how the church lost its hold and its grasp on higher education in the world.
Yes, Bishop Luda, you gave an accurate summary of where the church was. It was really heavy, not only in higher education, but also in medicine and other areas of secularization that we have now, that the church was heavy into developing educational resources. Mostly all of our big educational institutions started out being theological schools and moved into secular. We wanted to start schools to educate our people, especially in the Renaissance era, coming out of the area of the Dark Ages and getting some education. It was all about the church educating They wanted to educate and indoctrinate. So later on, especially, I would like to interject here that as the church moved west, and especially as we get to America and France, it became this issue of wanting to separate church and state that really led to a secularization, because the perspective would be that the church had too much control of society in Europe. And they wanted, and as it moved to the New World, this whole New World thinking was to separate the church from the state. So that's how secularization sort of took over the educational field. And instead of being an indoctrination for the church was both educating and indoctrinating. But of course, with secularization, they want to separate the indoctrination from education.
Excellent. And then I want to remind those who are watching us that this
Bishop. You froze on me, Bishop.
should be there.
I'm here now. Your screen had froze up on me.
Yeah. We seem to have lost the connection.
Yeah. Now it's back.
Okay.
I guess you can edit this once you get off.
Right. So, Bishop, I was talking about the Protestant Reformation and the pioneer personalities in the Protestant Reformation, like John Wycliffe, Martin Luther, John Knox, John Calvin, George Fox. All of these are individuals who resisted the status quo. And of course, the church was a part of that status quo. And so in the area of medicine, in the area of science, and in the area of education, the church kind of took a different path. Can you expand upon that?
Yes. For instance, the characters that you mentioned, especially John Wycliffe and others who sort of pre-Reformation struggles were dealing with the corruption in the church. So in terms of dealing with the corruption in the church itself, it wasn't that they didn't believe in the institution of the church, but the leadership of the church was corrupted. So in terms of moving into getting the scriptures into the language of the people, and especially in German for Martin Luther in terms of where he was, and then seeing Calvin as they begin to understand this whole era of commentaries. Because to me, beyond the scriptures being translated into the language of the people, came the era of people who became proficient in Hebrew and Greek, who were writing commentaries so that people would kind of understand what the scriptures were about. That's when you have eras of people like John Calvin, and then others who began to come on behind him, John Fox, and others who just began to make commentary on the scriptures. All of that led to a whole era of educational struggle, but also led an area of government, because we begin to challenge the episcopal structure of government, and so the church began to move to other forms of church government.
Exactly, exactly. Bishop, let's talk about our theological intensive. You have been with me in this theological intensive from the very beginning. And one of the reasons that we've been talking about education for the last several minutes is because both you and I have a passion for bringing graduate level information and curriculum to the laity, to the pew. Let's talk about how important you think that is.
I think it's very important, Bishop. I've joined with you in this passion for the last 10 years to bring this education to people on a different level than it would as if they went to the schools that we have gone to. This way, with the intensives, we have opened up some areas that people can share the same sort of information that you and I have paid thousands of dollars for, that could come to these intensives and learn and have access to some of the greatest professors in the country, for some of the information that they normally would not have been able to get, except they paid huge amount of money to come and join other institutions. In the intensives, they have the opportunity to grasp some of this higher education on a different platform.
Bishop, this year we're going to Regent University, and in the past we've held these intensives on the campus of Harvard University, Princeton University. For several years we were at Yale University. Give us your perspective on how important you think it is for those who attend to be in an actual academic environment, to be in a campus, to be in a classroom. What are they fully benefiting from that kind of experience?
Well, besides the fact, Bishop Luder, that you kind of really opened up the door that we could travel with these intensives. It's almost we have a portable theological classroom at different high-level institutions around the country. It's been my opportunity to share with you at Yale and at Harvard and at many of the other institutions we've gone to, Princeton and others, and it's been a great opportunity for those, even if any of us have shared at one particular institution. Come to these intensives, we get the opportunity to share with professors from various backgrounds. We get to share with people at various schools that normally you wouldn't do ordinarily, and would cost you a lot more than the average two-day intensives that we're doing. And I think that the kind of opportunity they have to open up the door and to see the things that they can, and hear this thing and get this opportunity and be privy to this kind of teaching is priceless. I don't think you can put a price tag on it.
I agree with you so very, very much, Bishop. Now, this year, we're looking at technology and theology.
Yes.
I want to spend just a minute, Bishop, having you talk to us about the union and the connection between technology and theology. One of the things that I hope to be talking about when students arrive is how the church has always used technology in the advancement and the expansion of God's word. When God regretted having made the world, God provided blueprints so that Noah would have the most advanced technology available. The building of an ark, of Noah's ark, was advanced technology. It was cutting edge technology in that day and time. The writing of the Ten Commandments on the tablets of stone, on the foundation of a written record, was the most advanced technology of that time. The expansion of Christianity in the 1st and 2nd century, because of the paved Roman road and the expansion of the Roman Empire, was the most modern technology of its time.
That's right.
Martin Luther, who gave us the Gutenberg Bible because of the printing press. Wilhelm Gutenberg invented the printing press, the most modern technology of the time. Radio ministry, television ministry, the most modern technology of its time. The internet, the most modern technology of its time. Talk to us about how the church has always used technology to expand the kingdom of God.
It is what you said. It is a vehicle for the church. Whether we go back to the issues you're talking about, even to the earliest manuscripts, from scrolls going to codex, where they actually sewed the pages together, to the fact that we get the printing press. The church has always been on the cutting edge of technology. The church, when the radio started, it was tons of radio ministries. Where churches was using the radio ministry, then we went to the TV ministry. the internet has been a boom for us. I mean, there, Mark, when I pastored some 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have some of the marketing tools we have now, like Facebook and others. I mean, stuff that we had to pay for marketing for years ago, we got it free through social media. I mean, it is a good time now to have a ministry in a church because you got the world as your audience without paying for it. So the church has really been a benefit of this technology. I believe we're the age that just may see Jesus come back again because we're reached into all the world. Yeah, I tell people all the time, I go around the world every week. I'm Skyping and talking and Googling to people all around the globe, and I don't have to travel there because of technology like we're on right now.
So, Bishop, talk to us about some of the tools that you use. We're bringing people. We're bringing Dr. Teresa Harrison in from Atlanta, Georgia. We're bringing Mark Clement in from Birmingham, Alabama. These are people who have utilized technological tools over the years. But let's talk about some of the tools that you have used in your ministry and how valuable have those tools been to you?
Well, of course, I'll just mention Facebook first because I have several pages on Facebook as well as personal profile. They have been very beneficial to get out the message of the things I want. Of course, I have about 3 or 4 Twitter accounts, and I've got quite a few people following me on Twitter. Skyping, I Skype with people constantly. I'm an early riser, so I'm up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon at some places around the world, and I'm Skyping with people. So there are a lot of different schools. There are online meeting resources. There are free conference calls. I stay in touch with my staff of bishops who are all around the country. We have monthly conference calls, and so we can be on a free conference call. I use a program like Any Meeting, which I can have a video conference meetings. We're using programs like this, Google Hangout, and others. I mean, it's just so much that we used to, years ago, you had to travel to meet with people. Now, because of technology, I can meet with them anywhere. I could be in my pajamas almost, just put on a shirt and just meet with somebody. So it's really an age of technology, and we're able now, because of this technology, to carry the gospel around the world. There are so many people in remote areas that have cell phones. I'm talking to people in South Africa all the time where everybody has a cell phone. There are no landlines. Everybody's walking around with a cell phone in their hand. And in the last 3 or 4 years, most of them are getting smartphones. So it's becoming a good tool for technology.
Well, for the last several minutes, I've been talking with Bishop Dennis Golphin of Raleigh, North Carolina, living in Favor Global Ministries. He's been talking about the usage of technology in his own ministry. I have concentrated on doing online courses. I have courses at udemy.com. I use a tool called Moodle for online courses. I do a number of websites. One of the things that I am very fascinated by is what's now called responsive websites. It used to be that you had to have a large screen, laptop, or a desktop computer, but now most of the websites easily translate themselves into mobile devices so that what you do on your website can be easily consumed by persons on their smartphone. So I want to remind you that on October the 13th and the 14th, that's a Monday and a Tuesday, it takes advantage of Columbus Day, the Columbus Day holiday. We're going to meet on the campus of Regent University in Virginia Beach, Virginia, for our 10th annual Theological Intensive. In this intensive, we're going to talk about the new power pack, technology and theology. I will be doing an extensive lecture on the usage of technology historically by the church. I have other individuals who are going to come teach you how to do how to use media creatively, how to use video creatively, how to do a press conference, how to publish. All of that and so much more is going to be available. Again, you can take a look at what we're doing at www.theologicalintensive.com. Again, that is www.theologicalintensive.com. We're meeting on October 13th, 14th. We certainly would like to see you there in Virginia Beach at Regent University. Bishop, our time is just about done, but I want to give you an opportunity to give us one of the last words for our gathering today.
Bishop, I just want to reiterate again that we want you to meet us at the intensive. It's an opportunity like none other. Even if you've already got your degree or been to school, you haven't been in this traveling caravan that we do. We get to go to some of the greatest universities. Bishop Luter has been able to assign some of the greatest professors from different places to come in, and it's been a great opportunity to share in ministry.
All righty. Well, friends, again, you've been watching and listening to Bishop Dennis Golphin, Living in Favor Global Ministries, right there in Raleigh, North Carolina. I am Bishop Andy C. Luter here in Amityville, New York, part of the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship, the Bishop of Christian Education. Again, I want to remind you that on October 13th and 14th of this year, 2014, we will be meeting on the campus of Regent University in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Again, www.theologicalintensive.com is where you can get more information, where you can register, where you can even reserve your hotel room for the intensive. We will start on Monday at 12 noon and we'll end on Tuesday at 12 noon of the following day. Look, until next time, I'm Bishop Andy C. Luter saying, God bless you. We look forward to seeing you real soon.
Bless you.